I chose to analyze a couple paragraphs in the last chapter of the book. He started the chapter off saying, "But this too is true. Stories can save us. I'm 43 years old and a writer now, and even still, right here, I keep dreaming Linda alive, and Ted Lavender too, and Kiowa, and Kurt Lemon, and a slim young man I killed, and an old man sprawled beside a pig pen, and several others whose bodies I once lifted and dumped into a truck. They're all dead, but in a story which is a kind of dreaming, the dead sometimes smile and sit up and return to the world." And later in the chapter he writes, "The thing about a story is that you dream it as you tell it, hoping that others might then dream along with you. And in this way, memory and imagination and language combine to make spirits in the head. There is the illusion of aliveness." And I really liked these two paragraphs because I think that it's a good way to sort of sum up his reason for writing this book. I think that the way that he explains, he'll talk about the death of a character and then bring them up later in the story, so you sort of forget that they had died already. And I think that sort of his purpose of the story was to help him get over the deaths of all these people that he's lost in his life, and to help the reader helps him. The reader is sort of getting a better understanding of how he felt about these people in his life, and like he said, he's giving the illusion of aliveness with his.
This is our podcast on the things they carried and analyzing the text and the purpose of it. The paragraph I chose to analyze was on Elroy. This is it. "He didn't speak. He was simply there, like the river and the late summer sun, but by his presence, his mute watchfulness, he made it real. He was the true audience. He was a witness, like God, or like the gods who look on in absolute silence as we live our lives, as we make our choices, or fail to make them. Ain't biting," he said. I chose this because it really shows how Tim O'Brien can so quickly change the book, the mood, and the tone and what's happening. The grand description of Elroy, or just anything in the book, where he relates them to God, but then can make such a drastic switch to an informal conversational bit. He does this often in the book. The purpose of this is to show that Elroy's presence is enough and that what he does is enough. To change Tim's life, all he has to do is sort of be there. He can be sort of almost an otherworldly being in Tim's life without saying the most. He does and say things that hold the most meaning with the least words. Elroy presented Tim with the future of options, more than just a draft. He takes Tim for just a little fishing, but it's so much more than fishing. He brings him right to the Canadian border. Elroy brings Tim to confront his future. He gives him a choice, brings Tim face to face with who he really is, and changes Tim completely. A point Tim O'Brien makes a lot is that small things have big meaning. He compares Elroy to, quote, "a witness like God," and he is just that.
So the second paragraph we chose.
This is the paragraph that I chose for the things they carried. "You just don't know," she said. "You hide in this little fortress behind wire and sandbags, and you don't know. Sometimes I want to eat this place, the whole country, the dirt, the death. I just want to swallow it and have it there inside of me. That's how I feel. It's like this appetite. I get scared sometimes, lots of times. But it's not bad, you know. I feel close to myself. When I'm out there, at night, I feel close to my own body. I can feel my blood moving, my skin and my fingernails, everything. It's like I'm full of electricity and I'm glowing in the dark. I'm on fire almost. I'm burning away into nothing. But it doesn't matter because I know exactly who I am. You can't feel like that anywhere else." So in this paragraph, Tim O'Brien uses a fortress metaphor, the way he says that she wants to swallow it and have it there inside of her because she doesn't actually it's not actually possible for her to swallow it and have it there inside of her. It's just his way of describing how she's just in love with it so much. She just wants to be it, and she wants to be one with her surroundings. And I think when she says you hide in this little fortress behind the wire and sandbags, she kind of uses that maybe as how when she was back in the United States, that's how she felt. Maybe she was put in this little box where she couldn't really be herself. She was behind these walls, and now she finally has had this chance to break out of that, and she's found where she's supposed to be.